Where should people start when it comes to preparation?
Yeah, so the reason that preparation for the hiring process is so important is because most leaders, George, they don't prepare. They're busy. They got a lot going on. So we're not beating up on leaders right now, but let's just call this out. They walk in and they look on their calendar, oh, crud, I got an interview, and maybe they have 5 minutes, okay? And they pull out the resume and they start scanning it, but their brain is still in the last meeting. They probably interrupt the scanning process to tell their assistant something's got to happen. It's just this hurried reality. And when you look at the resume and you're trying to formulate an interview out of the resume, I'm just going to tell you, you're going to do a crappy job asking questions. And so we know from research that the biggest cause of turnover is a bad hiring process. Well, the biggest part of the hiring process are the interviews themselves, where you have this moment to really dig and then glean. So you got digging and gleaning, okay? And so we'll kind of cover that as we go through this, but let's just talk about the digging part. That's all through preparation. If I've got 30 minutes or 60 minutes or 45 minutes, whatever it is, I've got limited amount of time to be able to get what I need to get. And so preparing ahead of time, even if it's days in advance, and you've thought through the questions that you need to ask, the questions you want to ask, and you've got it ready, then when the time comes, you can pull that out. And no matter what's going on before, no matter what's going to happen after the interview, you can be present. And so preparation is everything, because you only have so many questions you can ask in a finite amount of time. And so preparation is everything. Allows you to actually listen and watch the candidate, to engage, because you're not making questions up on the fly. You have a plan. That's what preparation is, and that's why it's so important.
Yeah, you're not in your head as much. And this
you're
stuff
not making
is not
it up. Now, you could do follow-up questions, George. You make a good point. But the follow-ups come from the fact that I'm prepared. And so I've got a prepared question. I ask it. And if they give me let's just, for example, say 50% of the answer that I'm looking for, then I know to stay there. But if I'm just pulling questions out of you-know-what, there's a strong chance that we're not going to get what we need.
Yeah, and this is not a theory for you. This is stuff that you put into practice on stage interviews with Condoleezza Rice and President George Bush.
That's right.
And so you framed up these two questions. What do I want to know? What do I need to know? Yeah. What's the difference between those?
Yeah, so the need to know is, let's think technical things. What are the technical things that you need to know? Things that really matter to the actual position itself. So we're thinking highly technical questions, so that you as the leader go, okay, do I have a sense that they have the technical skills, they've got what we want there, and then the want to know is more on the personal cultural fit side. So, there's some things that you just need to know.
Those are kind of the check the boxes.
Check the box, got to get that. The want to know is, can you connect with them in the interview? Can they give something to you that you get a sense and a feel? It's what we call that gut feeling, but it's actually a part of our logic process. So the want to know is just kind of the intangible things that maybe you want to know, but it's just a play on words. But the need to know and want to know. So I'm going to take both of those things, and I'm going to make sure that we get to those questions in the interview.
And when it comes to the resume, you talked about this. It's not hey, let's just glance over it and make up some questions on the fly. What are the important parts of the resume that we should lean into as the leader when we're doing this interview?
Well, I think if you're looking for some experience questions and some technical skills, you can look at what the resume shows you. And if you feel like you've got some gaps in the resume, in the sense of they've put down the right information, but you want to know a little bit more. So you see something on there, they've got this certification. I want to dive into that. That's intriguing to me. So again, that's why we look at the resume well in advance.
Yeah.
It's nothing more than a brochure. And let's be really honest. I mean, we've got people who can put all the stuff on the resume, but just because they've got the stuff on the resume doesn't mean they're the right fit. So let's look at whatever information you feel like is intriguing to you that you want to dig into, or maybe you feel like, I feel like maybe we're missing some information in this. Let me see if they've got it, in the form of the interview. That's all you're looking at for the resume. So don't let that be this big giant guide. I can't tell you how many times I've not even looked at a resume in the interview process. And the reason is because at this point, we're talking about leaders doing interviews. At this point, if you're following the EntreLeadership process on how we do interviews, the resume has long since, they've gotten past that level. So it's time for you to lean in and really figure out, are they the right candidate?